At the back there are 2 rows of columns and an archway leading from the low court where the magistrates sat. Pressing on, we come to the Macellum. This was a covered market used for the sale of food, especially meat and fish. This construction dates back to the imperial era. On the western side of the Forum, we come to the Temple of Apollo, which already existed in Samnitic times, and we can define a portico of 48 columns. As we turn back, before descending the stairs, we can see the arcade and the bronze statues of Apollo and Diana. The Forum was the heart of the political, religious and social life of Pompeii, which was built around the various public buildings. It was the lively centre of public life, a meeting place for citizens of every class. The house of the Vetti is also very interesting. It belonged to 2 prosperous merchants, probably brothers. It is magnificently decorated and is particularly famous for its rich and well-preserved wall paintings, namely the Triclino Sala. This house shows visitors a truly complete image of how the Pompeian wealthy Roman houses were. The Villa of the Mysteries, built on the outskirts of the city in the 3rd century BC. This villa contains what some consider the greatest surviving group of paintings from the ancient world, telling the story of a young bride, Ariadne, being initiated into the mysteries of the cult of Dionysus. Like Pompeii, Herculaneum was also devastated by the eruption of Vesuvius in 79 AD. The only difference being that it was covered by a tremendous shower of ashes and other substances which left the buildings, houses, animals and other objects completely intact. Herculaneum was then later covered by another layer of lava and mud which filled the streets and which solidified into a layer of hard rock, preserving everything as if under a protective shell. The discovery of Herculaneum not only revealed all that had been concealed, but also the everyday life in the smallest and most individual details. To be noted, the House of the Relief of Telephus, so called because of the relief work to the mythical Telephus. This elegant residence is of great interest not only structurally, but also because of its refined decoration in marble. Another wonderful example is the House of Neptune and Aphrodite, which is on 2 floors. The mosaics have remained almost intact, and on the ground floor, well preserved also, is the ancient shop with its counter and shelves in wood, and where are displayed some beautiful wine vessels. Also of great interest is the House of the Carbonized Furniture, a house of modest dimensions but quite refined. Here, still standing, is a bed and other pieces of furniture. Finally, we come to the Terme, the baths, which are not only of enormous interest structurally, but also because of the hot water system that supplied hot water throughout the building, which dates back to the 1st century AD. Here there had been a great deal of planning done, and the facilities for both men and women had been specifically designed. Another point of interest is the splendid inlaid mosaic flooring depicting species of marine animals. Not very far from the motorway tollgate of Torre d'Annunziata appears the ancient Roman Oplonti. Between the remains of the ruins and villas, which can be seen and admired from the roadside, stands out the prestigious villa of Poppaea, who was the wife of Nerone. This very complex and beautiful villa comprises of 94 rooms, including living rooms, bedrooms, spa, and a large bathing pool. Rich in decoration, paintings and sculptures, many precious items have also been discovered here, such as gold and silver coins and jewellery. Inseparable from the Neapolitan landscape is Vesuvius, one of the smallest volcanoes in the world, but probably the most famous of all. Well known too is the eruption of 79 AD, when Pompeii and also the surrounding towns were destroyed. The height of Vesuvius today is approximately 1,277 meters. It consists of two distinct portions. On the northern side, a great cliff half encircles the present cone and descends in long slopes to the plain below. This precipice, known as Monte Somma, forms the wall of an ancient crater of a far greater size than the present one. This would seem to indicate that the volcano was probably once twice its present size. Since the last eruption in 1946, its plume of smoke and 2 or 3 fumaroles give warning that Vesuvius is still active. But despite threats and its past history, the lower slope is well inhabited and the houses have been tightly packed together. The early part of the ascent of Vesuvius is very interesting. Also, the lower slopes of the mountain, which have been heavily cultivated as the soil is incredibly fertile. After Castellammare, we begin one of the most fascinating routes, the peninsula of Sorrento. The first centre we come to is Vico Equense, a delightful town which seems to almost cling to the mountain at 100 metres above sea level. Its houses, dotted along the slopes, appear to be suspended over the Equa beach. Having left Vico Equense, we come to Seiano, another sought-after holiday resort which opens out all at once, creating the most beautiful scenery. Near to Sorrento, and called the Piano di Sorrento, this flat green land near to the sea seems to hurl itself into the sea. From this vast, wonderful terraced land, several centres arise, one of the principal ones being Meta di Sorrento, a sweet town, very relaxing, and just a little more than 100 metres above sea level. It sits like a crown over this marvellous coastline. And then we come to Sorrento, the most important part of this peninsula, and it is for this reason it obtained its name. This superb town, known worldwide for its beautiful sea, climate and breathtaking scenery, was at first a Greek colony and then subsequently became a Roman city. Loved and visited for centuries as a holiday resort, its environment is equal to that of Ischia and Capri. We are now on the Amalfi Coast, not by chance called Divina. Adored by both artists and tourists, it is certainly a place of dreams, almost unreal until one actually sets foot, and then the nostalgia never goes away. The wonderful combinations woven together of the sea and the mountains, the perfume that fills the air and the fairy tale sunsets, the magnificent view of the lemon grove terraces and the pine trees that line the slopes, reaching out as if to touch the waters below. Here the earth is rich in every sense. The sea has the most beautiful tones of blue and green, and the beaches are enchanting. Then there are the built-up areas, with houses painted white, pink and yellow, all crowded around tiny porticos, appearing like precious gems set into a tiara, sparkling in the sunshine. It is all of these things that capture the visitor with amazement. The first gem on this coast of dreams is Positano, an ancient fishing town which has become one of the busiest resorts along the coast, and certainly one of the most beautiful, with visitors from all over the world. Its main characteristics are the alleyways and flights of steps which bravely climb their way towards the mountaintop, along which are set out the typical Moorish white houses on the numerous terraces which almost form a cascade down to the sea. Not too far from the Marina Grande, standing tall and sparkling, is the Church of Assunta with its large, brightly tiled cupola. Also from here, out at sea, are the three famous rocky islets called Ligali, the Roosters. Beyond Positano we come to Vetica Maggiore, a delightful fishing centre famous today as a holiday resort, thanks to its charming position, its clear healthy air and limpid sea. Its built-up area is spread along a brief but very picturesque beach, and the limestone rock which once was rough and barren is now thriving with dense vegetation which reaches far down to the sea. Straight afterwards we come to Priano, a small village well known for its sweet climate and clear sea. It has a distinguished appearance and an indisputable beauty. Its slopes are covered in lush greenery and lemon groves, capable of offering serene moments of pure relaxation. In only a short time it has also become a popular bathing resort. Down by the water's edge is a small inlet where fishermen once took refuge when there were storms at sea. There is also a charming beach where it is very pleasant to swim as the water is exceptionally blue. A little further along is the splendid Fiordo di Furore. This profound abyss, magnificent for its deep, dark, rocky walls and narrow crags, is also well known for the violence of the sea as it beats against the shore on stormy days. This charming and unique place, with just a handful of houses clinging to its slopes, also has a small beach where many colourful boats are moored, and overhead there is a picturesque bridge. After crossing the bridge, the spectacular view of the Tyrrhenian Sea comes into sight across the horizon, where it slowly disappears in an infinite variety of colours. And passing on, we now reach Conca dei Marini, well known and well liked. It has a very popular tourist locality which is situated at the Capo di Conca. Once upon a time it was important for the merchant ships which were built in its dockyard and for its skillful sailors. On the hillside, the white houses grouped together on the rocky terraces form an impressive sight, like a staircase down to the seashore. Here, where the intense blue of the sea dominates all and the water is so clear, it is even possible to explore the seabed. The simple natural beauty here is, to say the least, incredible, and it would seem that even time has stood still. Splendid too is the ex-convent of Santa Rosa, famous for its culinary skills and above all for the famous sfogliatella, a cake first invented in the 18th century in the form of a monastic food. Also very wonderful is the Grotta dello Smeraldo, the Emerald Grotto. It is true that the sea in the bay has an incredible mixture of colours, from turquoise to deep blue, but when the sea passes through this natural cave, the waters take on an intense emerald colour due to the light which filters through indirectly beneath the surface of the sea and penetrates the cave. It is also very rich in stalactites and stalagmites, some of which have joined together in columns and formed a sort of temple at sea. Beneath the water is a nativity scene made in local ceramic style. Leaving Conca dei Marini, the magnificent view of Amalfi comes into sight like a rare jewel. The town, which lends its name to the entire coastline, is probably the most famous and important of all the tourist spots in Campania and southern Italy. This unmistakably unpicturesque habitat